Hello and welcome to the Vanarama National League highlight show. A fascinating picture is starting to take shape at the top of the division. Just 1 point separated Halifax and Chesterfield. The Spireites dropped points in the week though to Maidenhead United, and the Magpies had the chance to do the double over the top two, with Halifax next up. Richard Henwood has the details.
Maidenhead began the weekend at the wrong end of the National League table, but right now they're having quite an impact on the title race. A second big scalp for them in 5 days as they beat Halifax 1-0, thanks to that nice finish from Josh Kelly. But for Halifax, a major blow after a tough 24 hours, as they were hit by illness and injury disruptions before and during the game.
The lads are trying to do the best to make sure they avoid illness, but unfortunately we've come a cropper a bit and come a cropper on the way down with two more. So yeah, it's tough as a manager, and then you then making changes to your changes, and then another one at half time goes downhill. We have to bring him off at half time. It's just an absolute a melee of illness and injury.
Since their midweek defeat at Maidenhead, Chesterfield have strengthened their squad with the signing of Joe Quigley from Yeovil, and he almost made an immediate impact against Aldershot. His new club usually rely on Kabongo Shimanga for their goals, but it was Quigley who continued to get the chances in the second half, denied here by Aldershot keeper Mitch Walker. A goalless draw meant Chesterfield's unbeaten home record remains intact. A point was enough for them to leapfrog Halifax at the top of the table.
For us to go top like this isn't as exciting or as positive as what we want it to be, because you want to go top after a win. But it shows how far we've come in just a year. To be top after 23 games is pleasing.
Another team defending an impressive home record, Boreham Wood, who refused to be distracted by an upcoming FA Cup fourth round tie against Bournemouth. In fact, it's almost 3 months since they lost in any competition. And when Frankie Raymond's cross shot found its way into the Weymouth nets, they were ahead again. But by half-time, the lead had gone, with the equaliser a moment to forget for defender Jamie Record. This was his Boreham Wood debut after signing from Wrexham. It was marked by an own goal. Worrying moments in the second half at Meadow Park, as the game was delayed by almost half an hour for treatment to Weymouth's Omar Musa. He was eventually helped off with his arm in a sling. And when play resumed, Tay Ashby-Hammond's late save denied Weymouth a winner. But they'd ended a run of 7 successive league defeats, and that was a promising start for new manager David Oldfield.
Well, let's get some reaction then. Danny Searle and Chris Hargreaves with me. As I say, very close at the top, not a lot of points separating even the top 10 in the table. But do you feel there was a real missed opportunity for Halifax there, given Chesterfield dropped points in the weekend and drew again this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, look, Pete Wild's done an amazing job there, and like when you have to deal with some of the things you have to deal with in the last 24, 48 hours, it's difficult to really go out and go after the opposition. But to be fair, I think he would have expected to pick up points today, and Maidenhead doing what they always do. They seem to be dead and buried, and then Devonshire pulls out rabbits out of hats and 2 wins in two consecutive games. Yeah,
they seem to really perform against the sides at the top of the table, Bromley, Chesterfield and now Halifax. So yeah. What a great week, great 4 days that Maidenhead United
Absolutely, yeah. He does do a good job. He's got that respect for the players. They buy into him. He's a great man manager, good guy. Do things on a very tight budget and recruits well. And you might say it's a missed opportunity, but I think as long as you're picking up points, you still feel like you've got that momentum. So it's frustration, but not too bad.
And do you think, I mean, Pete Wild had to make a number of changes today. Do you think the job he's done has gone under the radar a little bit? They've
Yeah, I know what you mean, but he is a well-respected coach and manager.
To go elsewhere as well.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure I'd like to be on their team coach at the moment. It sounds like it's illness all over that bus, but it is frustrating because you plan all week. Some players then come down with illness. It's frustrating for him, and you could tell that in his post-match. But again, I'd expect them to bounce back. He's got a real strong team ethic, and again, a manager that's recruited well. And I've got a good sort of empathy for Halifax. They're one of the teams that go into the National League, and they've spent a long time in it. and he's trying to get that feel good factor back into the town.
Chesterfield held to a goalless draw against Aldershot again, but they go top of the league. But in terms of, there wasn't an immediate return to winning ways. What impact can that have on the team?
But sometimes it's about not losing 2 in a row, and at the end of the day you won't probably find out till the end of the season, but that point today could be crucial. And when you're off the back of a result that they would have expected to go and win at Maidenhead in midweek, you get a point. The most important thing is they get a clean sheet, and sometimes you need that to steady the ship. So as the manager said, it's not how they wanted to go top, but it still puts them top.
Okay, well, there are a number of teams, as we said, that are chasing promotion, and Bromley are one of them. They're hoping to hold on to their manager as well after he was linked with a place at Gillingham. He was in the dugout today at Grimsby, and Dave Beckett has all the details.
Bromley were quick to acknowledge a leap to League One could be too good for their boss to resist, and Grimsby's Jordan Maguire-Drew added to their angst midway through the first half as Paul Hurst's attack-minded lineup paid dividends. But the Ravens have a habit of fighting back from behind. When the home side made an awful hash of clearing their lines, George Alexander snapped up the opportunity to level the scores. Bromley's aim was to build on their 5-point advantage over the Mariners, and Jude Arthur's late winner made their playoff spot more secure before Andy Woodman delivered what sounded like more good news.
I have to be honest to myself, and I have to be honest to my family, and I have to be honest to my chairman, more importantly. It's dragged on a little bit, and I think sometimes in life, you know, when things drag on a little bit, you know it's not the right thing. So my focus is in Bromley, and that's where it's going to be.
Solihull Moors relished the chance to end their 3-match winless run at home to Dover. No one more in the mood than Andrew Dallas, who was set to run riot from the moment he latched onto Adam Rooney's header to claim the final touch. The worst possible start for the club propping up the table, and Dover's gloom soon deepened. Inside the first 10 minutes they were done for, as Dallas capped a fine move by doubling the advantage. Last week the Scotsman netted a hat-trick in the FA Trophy. No doubt to Dover's monumental relief, he temporarily reverted to the form that preceded that. Incredibly, a run of 4 months without scoring. But Adam Park's goal couldn't lead a charmed life forever. Dallas soon realigned his sights and retained his composure to poke the ball through the keeper's legs for another treble. Never mind 4 months, his next dry spell lasted just 4 minutes. Perhaps understandably, half of Dover's defence seemed to have gone home early, as the striker completed an astonishing first-half display that featured more goals than he'd managed in the rest of the league season combined. 4-0 still wasn't enough. In the 54th minute, Dallas single-handedly made sure the Moors matched their biggest ever National League winning margin, shortly before Solihull took pity on Dover and subbed him off. With Joe Quigley gone, the race is on to become Yeovil Town's new top scorer. And Tom Knowles put himself on 4 for the season against Wrexham as the Glovers look to repeat their success in the reverse fixture. That defeat in November still stung for the Welsh club, the only time they've lost at home in the league this season. Paul Mullin's effort set a new club record by putting the Reds on the score sheet in their first 14 away league games for the first time ever. Wrexham on course now to gain their revenge, a mission they accomplished 11 minutes from time when Morgan Williams put through his own net.
Grimsby not able, for some reason, to string some, consecutive wins together. But we heard there from the Bromley manager there, Andy Woodman, confirming that he's going to be staying at Bromley. He has been given permission to speak to Gillingham, and that will be music to the ears of the fans, won't it? Particularly with their playoff push.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword at times, because obviously the success he's having at Bromley, which is great for the club, puts him in the shop window, and he's getting the traction from the League One clubs, which is just a credit to him and the work he's doing. But I know Bromley have got big ambitions, and to manage to keep hold of Andy would be a great thing for them.
And they were able to come back in the game this weekend, Chris, with Grimsby getting ahead first. They found a way to come back and get the points.
Yeah, for sure. Disappointed for Grimsby, and as you rightly said, they haven't quite managed to get that sort of momentum going. But Andy's done a really good job at Bromley. Strong, physical side, and yeah, committing his future to the club. But I think that they will be challenging this season if he stays, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. 18 points they've picked up from losing positions. There's only one person to talk about between Solihull and Dover, and what a day for Dallas.
Yeah, I've been an admirer of him for a while, to be fair. I've unfortunately been on the receiving end of some of his finishing, so I know what a potent guy he is, and I was surprised to hear the stats around how long he's gone without scoring, but he just showed today with some of his movement, his first touch, and I think composure, as you can see now, he's not frightened about putting the ball in the back of the net.
Without a goal in 19, and he scored
Incredible.
8 in his last 2.
Incredible.
How many have you scored in one game, Chris?
I think I scored 5 in a training session once in about 1995, but 2 were off my shin. Closed my eyes for one of them. But no, great week for him, and you need that sometimes, don't you, as a striker when you've had a barren spell. Yeah,
a really difficult afternoon for Dover now without a win in almost 12 months. Wrexham coming back as well to beat Yeovil, and Yeovil going through a bit of a difficult time. They've also lost their leading scorer in Joe Quigley as well.
Yeah, and again, Darren's done a good job with putting a strong squad together, and they had a real purple patch at a stage of the season where they kicked on and they moved up the league. But when you're playing teams like Wrexham, you've got to be clinical, and you need players like a Quigley to be on the pitch to make sure you can do that. And credit to Wrexham, they come from behind to get the points.
And we talked, Chris, about Stockport having a good record on the road, but Wrexham setting a new record, scoring in each of the 14 away games, and they move up to 6, so a good afternoon for them. Yeah,
I did plump for them at the start of the season. I'm going to stick with it. I just think that they've got the backing, the firepower, and they seem to take over grounds, and that gives a lot to a player. You know, when you take in 1,500, 2,000 fans in some instances to away games, it feels like a home game. So another really strong performance from them today.
Plenty more still to come. We'll have the rest of the action, including what's happened here at Victoria Road between Dagenham and Redbridge and Stockport County, 2 teams in the push for promotion in the 5th tier. All coming up after the break. Welcome back to the Vanarama National League highlight show, and time to take a look back at the action from here between 2 very much in form sides, Dagenham and Redbridge, who are unbeaten in their last 5 games, against a Stockport County side who'd won 7 of their last 8. Adam Virgo and Adam Summerton have your commentary.
Swinging dangerously, and what an early goal this is. Just over 2 minutes gone, and it's Ash Palmer who's put Stockport in front. Fantastic ball in, and Palmer did the rest.
Well, it's a perfect start for Dave Chandler's side in Stockport County. I said about Dagenham conceding early goals this season, that have been difficult for them to come back from. It's a beautifully weighted ball to the far post area.
They could be in again here. Southend Hales pulls it across, and they have scored again. It's the in-form Will Collar who stabbed it home from almost on the line. They simply could not have wished for a better start at Victoria Road. Inside 5 minutes, Stockport County are 2-0 up.
Well, this certainly wouldn't have been in the script for either manager at the fast start. Could he be a shade of offside? Southend Hales runs off Miles Weston. It takes a wicked deflection of Elliot Johnson, and then it just loops into an area to the form player that's keeping out the National League Player of the Year, John Rooney, in Will Collar.
Marias got Walker arriving in the box. Sagaf on the edge of the box. Marias went for that near post, forced the save from Hinchliffe and wins the corner.
That's the ball down the flanks again that I've been talking about time and time again for Dagenham and Redbridge.
Flicked on here for Collar, who hits it early and forces a magnificent save from Justin. Great stop there.
That's a brilliant save there from Elliot Justin. I just thought for a split second he was a little bit too far off his line, and the dip there from the shot from Collar maybe have beaten him.
Early Cross into the box, and Balanta with the touch. And Balanta, oh, lovely feet! And Walker! And they just took too long over it. I thought Balanta might have hit that then. Eventually the chance was gone.
Oh, it's almost a case of yours, mine, who is it?
Will it be the right boot of Southam Hales or the left of Rydell? It's Rydell, it's off the wall and then off the bar. And Madden trying to make a loose ball, but it's headed behind by Reynolds, so close to a third.
Yeah, really, really unlucky there.
Crankshaw looking to get in behind here, and the flag has stayed down. It is a chance for a third. And Justin got a touch on that, I think. And it is a corner, it's a brilliant save.
It's a great, great save there, and the substitute coming on, showing pace, showing energy.
Dave, well done, 3 points. Are you happy with that performance this afternoon?
Delighted. Start to the game obviously is massively beneficial to us and allows us to, I suppose, control certainly the second half of the game in a manner that we wanted to. I thought we could have been a little bit better in possession, but we still looked a real threat. And it's great when things that you work on a training pitch come to fruition on a Saturday. But we've come in and produced a brilliant performance and kept a really good team to minimal. And to go on with 3 points and a clean sheet is massively important for us.
Darryl, I guess when you go 2-0 down within the first 5 minutes, it leaves a bit of a mountain to climb during the game.
Yeah, it was a terrible start for us against an informed team who are a very, very good team, and a team for me that if you finish above them this season, you'll probably be the champions of the division. I think they're a good side, but it was a poor start from us, a really poor start, and then it's an uphill task from there.
Yeah, disappointment for Dagenham, Danny, but a dream start for Stockport. They wanted to start the game quickly. They certainly did that. 2 goals in 5 minutes, 2 minutes between them. It was perfect for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if you're Dagenham, like we've said before, everything goes out the window. But no, it's a great start, great delivery into the box, fantastic header. I think Darryl will be very disappointed with the defending for the goal, because it's a great header, but he gets there too easily. The defender has no idea where his man is, and you're always going to cause problems when that happens.
Chris, a shout for offside on the second goal. We've looked at it from various different angles, haven't we? What was your verdict?
No, I don't think it was. What I would say is he was talking about the training ground, and it is off the training ground, safe side to Sarcevic, plays a runner in, Southern Hales, brilliant goal. And that's what he was referencing at the end of the game. And it is right, as a coach or a manager, when you work on these things and the players deliver it on a match day, it's a great feeling.
Stockport do have that spending power, don't they? They've certainly done that. Is that difficult to compete with, and do you think that they have to go up because of the money that's been spent?
I think normally you'd say yes, but there's several clubs doing the same thing in the league, and there's big competition there, and sometimes having money can be dangerous as well, because you still got to recruit the right players and bring the right players in. And I think with Dave Challoner's experience, I think they've got the right man for the job for that, which is why I think on today's performance and what I've seen so far, as we said, if you finish above them, you'll probably win the league, because I think they've got to be favourites.
OK, 4 more games then to wrap up the weekend, and it all involves teams fighting off relegation and looking to push up the table. Simon Watts explains.
The first game in 20 days for Woking, who've had a long time to dwell on their derby defeat to Aldershot, but any lingering frustrations were breezed aside when Ini Effiong put them in front. Wealdstone won their first match since November last weekend, but Woking were too strong. Within minutes of coming on, substitute Jamal Loza went through to score his first goal since March. While Loza kept his cool with that finish, substitute Douglas James Taylor lost his. He'd only been on for 3 minutes when his foul on Kyron Lofthouse saw him shown a straight red card. It's been a tough period for Altrincham, whose form has dipped alarmingly over the last 3 months, and their fragile confidence took another early knock when Connor Lemonhay-Evans calmly gave Torquay a 6th-minute lead. Toby Malarkey doesn't score many, but what an effort to draw Alty level, adding to his goal in the win at Plainmoor on the opening day of the season. Gary Johnson took Stephen Weir on loan from his son Lee, who's the Sunderland manager, earlier this month, and he marked only his 2nd appearance with a goal in front of the Torquay fans. Lions, who made a near 500-mile round trip. Just one win in 16 for Phil Parkinson's men, who hit the bar through Ryan Colclough. Lemonheigh Evans then should have made the victory safe, but this miss meant for a nervous finale. Some last-ditch defending kept out Isaac Marriott at the other end, as Torquay make it 5 wins in their last 7. The only time these sides had previously met at Roots Hall, Southend were 9-0 winners in an FA Cup tie over 50 years ago, and a surprise was on the cards when Harry Phipps headed his first goal for Kings Lynn. The visitors had lost 11 of their last 12 though, and Southend's biggest crowd of the season had their first goal to celebrate just 4 minutes after the restarts. Great cross from Sean Hobson, finished off by teenager Matt Dennis. Kings Lynn's wait for a first clean sheet of the season goes on, and then drama in stoppage time, as Southend won a penalty that even Sam Dolby admitted was a bad decision. Linnets boss Tommy Widrington was sent off for his reaction. Dolby took it himself to secure Southend's 3rd straight win and an early birthday present for their senior football strategist Stan Collymore, who's 51 today.
An important home win for Woking against Wealdstone then, and a clean sheet as well, which is important. Wealdstone now 8 points adrift of relegation. Is that a big enough cushion, do you think, at this stage?
No, I think that the league has proven that you can get a little run of games where you can go and win 3 or 4 on the bounce, and most teams in this league are capable of doing that. So I think they'll be looking over their shoulder, definitely.
Altrincham managed to beat Torquay on the opening day of the season, but Torquay putting in some good results recently, haven't they?
Yeah, they are. I think 5 in 7, is it? 5 wins. Very close last season, had a big hangover from it at the start of this, big turnaround of players, and that's not always easy, but you know, Gary's resilient, he knows his stuff, and I think they might be there or thereabouts, you know. Plump from at the start of the season to get close again, and as I say, they're probably 2 or 3 wins away from being in around the playoffs.
We also had a game on Friday evening between Southend and Kings Lynn, and it ended quite controversially. Kings Lynn getting themselves in front, Southend making a comeback, but a controversial winner in the end. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, you have to look at the players' reactions. I know this one player kind of as half-heartedly puts his arms out, but nobody else really makes an effort there. The game looks like it's just going to carry on, and obviously we can't tell because of the camera angle what the actual contact was, but for me it looks like he wins the ball, and very harsh.
Tommy Widrington sent off as well. Chris, Tommy's someone you know obviously from Bristol Rovers, and he's got a big job at
huge job. I mean, both Kev Mayer and Tommy Widrington I know very well from the time at Rovers, and it was a huge game and an absolutely massive win for Southend. And it's a big job. Yeah, they're adrift now. I think it's a big gap, and when you're down there, you don't get decisions like that. On another day, it's not given. What I would say is, if you do lunge in like that late, the referee sometimes gets drawn in by it, even though he did win the ball. But certainly no luck when you're down the bottom.
Let's take a look then at how things stand then after this weekend in the National League. This is what the table looks like, and Chesterfield have reclaimed top spots after a point today against Aldershot, but they are level on 47 points with Halifax. They do have a game in hand though. Stockport back up to 3rd place after dropping to 5th just for a short period of time on Saturday afternoon. Boreham Wood also in the mix as well. They're on a great run of form. Dagenham and Redbridge, with the defeat against Stockport County, just drop out of the playoff places. A little bit of movement at the bottom half of the table as well. Weymouth, Kings Lynn and Dover Athletic all looking for good results in the next few weeks. Dover still after their first one of the season, almost a year since their last victory. Chris Hargreaves, Danny Searle, thank you very much indeed for your company. That is all we've got time for here at Victoria Road. We hope to see you very soon. Bye bye for now.